I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. I, Douglas Ducote, an American patriot by the grace of God, do solemnly swear to support and defend the Constitution of the United States of America from enemies foreign and especially domestic. Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening, Patriots. I'm going to give a little quick rundown on a portion of the United States Constitution that is making headlines in every news media outlet out there in America, whether it's the far left or the far right, Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, it doesn't matter. It's dominating the news circle. It's in the papers. Why? Because judges are mentioning this and lawsuits are being filed against the Trump administration based on what they claim is constitutional protection. The Democrats up in Washington, D.C. are coming out and saying the same thing. What I'm talking about is the illegal aliens that Donald Trump is deporting out of America. And the talking points of the left is that in the United States Constitution, it plainly states that you cannot deport anyone, American citizen or illegal alien, without due process first. Now, we're going to discuss that. But what I want you to understand is although the Democrats up in Washington, D.C., every day, any news media that will point a camera at them are preaching this, and federal judges are preaching this, and the liberal media, as well as all over social media, especially on places like YouTube and Rumble, with liberal pundits that have shows like mine, except they're liberal, and they have millions of followers. I've only got over 100,000. But see, here's the big difference with this. Their audience, the liberals and typical Democrats, just believe what they're telling them. They don't do their own homework, and they don't read the Constitution, or maybe have never read the Constitution, other than maybe when they were in kindergarten or in the beginning of elementary school. And they don't know exactly what it says. And furthermore, when they do read it, they don't comprehend what they're reading. Now, I'm going to put up for you exactly word for word what the Fifth Amendment says, and then we're going to discuss this briefly. There we go. In fact, let me see if I can make it a little bigger. Okay. The Constitution of the United States, Fifth Amendment, explained. No person shall be held to answer for a capital or otherwise infamous crime unless on a presentment or indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in militia, when the actual service in time of war or public danger, nor shall any person be subjected for the same offense to be twice put in jeopardy of life or limb, nor shall compelled in any criminal case to be a witness against himself, nor be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law, nor shall private property be taken for public use without just compensation. Now, when they do read that, they don't dive into it, which we're going to. I'm going to break this down as simple as I possibly can for the liberals out there and the Democrats up in Washington, D.C. that are saying there's these illegal aliens that are being rounded up by ICE from the Trump administration are protected and have constitutional rights to due process. Let's comprehend what it says. It says that yes, they are correct. If you're here illegally and we want to deport you, then you have to have due process. It states that in the Constitution, clearly. But that's not what Donald Trump is doing, is it? He's not rounding up illegal aliens, and the only reason they're being rounded up and deported is because they broke the law and came here illegally. No. He is rounding up and arresting and deporting, or in some cases, sending to Gitmo, people that are classified as terrorists, or they have committed crimes against American citizens. For instance, raping women and children, bringing in drugs and fentanyl and killing Americans, robbery, rape, assaults, beating their wives, beating their kids, sex trafficking women and children, MS-13 gang members, and all these other Venezuelan gang members you've been hearing about. The bad apples of the illegals is who is getting arrested and deported, not normal people that came across the border and the only crime they committed was they came here illegally. Well, as we've all seen on all the news media outlets, they're doubling down on the Fifth Amendment, trying to say that what Donald Trump is doing is unconstitutional. Now, let me explain to you why it's not unconstitutional. The fine print here is that all these gang members from Mexico and Venezuela and Colombia that ICE is rounding up, you know, that some Democrat members of Congress are going to the jails down there in Venezuela saying, oh, this poor guy, bring him back to America, and even judges, even the Supreme Court saying they should be brought back here to America for due process, have been labeled a terrorist organization. And what does the Constitution say? Unless on an indictment of a grand jury, except in cases arising in the land or naval forces or in militia, when in actual service of time of war. Now let's stop right there. Since 9/11, America has been at a constant war footing against terrorism. That is a fact. So therefore, MS-13 gang members and all these other gang members that ICE is rounding up, whether it's from Venezuela or Colombia or Mexico, they're terrorists. And therefore, right there in the Constitution, Fifth Amendment, due process doesn't apply to them. So where are they being sent? To Guantanamo Bay. Why? Because all they're due, and they're getting their due process, is that by a military tribunal, and then they will be deported. Now, who are the other people they're deporting? Doug, it says in the Fifth Amendment, everybody gets due process, except the part that says, or public danger. And that's the other illegal aliens that are being arrested. Is it not public danger if they're rapists and murderers and child molesters and sex trafficking women and children and bringing drugs across the border to kill Americans with fentanyl and own assault and battery? No, those are people that are public danger. So when you hear these constitutional authorities that are on CNN or MSNBC talking about how Donald Trump is breaking the Constitution, shitting on the Constitution, he doesn't care about the Constitution, or those up in DC telling you that, it is a lie, a total lie. Because he's not rounding up illegal aliens whose only issue was they crossed the border illegally. Now, in the event when they arrest an illegal alien that's a criminal or a gang member / terrorist, and there happens to be somebody else in that house that their only crime is coming here illegally, yes, they are detained. Yes, they're going to jail to get due process. The other ones are being deported. If they're gang members, they're going to Guantanamo Bay for due process under military tribunal. It's in plain English in the Constitution. So this is what's happening. They're reading just the parts of the Fifth Amendment that they want you to hear. And this especially happens all over places like YouTube with these left-wing people that are experts on the Constitution and experts on the damage that Donald Trump is doing to our country. And they're either not comprehending the wording or expecting you not to be able to comprehend what you're reading. And then saying that, oh, it says right here in the Fifth Amendment that you have to get due process. And it does, if that's the only crime that was committed. And those people are getting due process. So once again, when you tune in to somebody on YouTube, for instance, screaming and hollering about how Donald Trump is destroying the Constitution, and look, all these judges are citing and saying that the Constitution says he can't deport these people, and judges are doing this every day. Read it. And then look at who's actually being arrested. If ICE was rounding up normal, everyday citizens and the only crime they committed was coming across the border illegally, and he was deporting them out of the country without due process, then that is breaking the law. And that is going against our Constitution. That is not who he is arresting. ICE is only going after those that are a public safety threat and are classified as terrorists, and therefore it is covered in the Fifth Amendment. I don't know how to make this any clearer, but it's pretty damn sad to continue to listen to this argument with people that either they're so stuck on stupid that they don't care what it says and they know better, and still want to push that narrative out there because they know that their audience is too stupid to do their own homework. And there's not many people out there doing what I'm doing right now, which is explaining it to you, breaking it down as simple as possible so it can be understood even by far left liberals. So to deviate from the Fifth Amendment or the Constitution, whether you're Donald Trump or the next Democrat president that comes around or anyone else, I will tell you you're wrong if you go against the Constitution. I took an oath to swear and defend and protect the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, in my law enforcement career and in my military career. I truly 100% believe in the Constitution. And I'll be the first person to call it out if Donald Trump does something that goes against what the Constitution says. So when you hear these people say this stupid shit, let it go in one ear and out the other. Maybe point them to this video and say, educate yourself because you sound stupid. Because clearly what Donald Trump is doing is within the letter of the law. And the last thing I will leave you with is these sanctuary cities and the liberals screeching and hollering that ICE doesn't have the power to go into sanctuary cities because illegal aliens are protected and round these people up. In fact, there's a Democrat governor right now bitching and screaming at the top of her lungs that ICE just happened to go into her state and started rounding up illegal aliens. I mean, how damning is that, right? How horrible is that? It's the Massachusetts governor. They went and rounded up 40 illegal aliens in a sanctuary city. But there's two things here. Number one, those 40 they arrested were gang members, not covered under the Fifth Amendment, child molesters, sex traffickers, drug traffickers. Why would you want to protect them in your city, Governor? And the second thing I will add to this, federal law trumps state law. So you can pass all the sanctuary city laws you want. They mean nothing when it comes to the federal government stepping in and doing their damn job written in the Constitution. And that, my friends, is facts. You can take it to the bank. Stop listening to these far left liberal nut jobs and the far left liberal nut jobs up in Washington, D.C. under the Democrat Party, the party that I used to belong to, spewing nonsense. Read it yourself. And if you read it and can't comprehend it, then just shut up because you're making a fool out of yourself. There will not be a normal show tonight because I have a wedding to go attend to, but I'll be back next week on Tuesday. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families in our country. May God bless the United States of America, and may God bless each and every one of you. Have a wonderful and blessed weekend coming up, my friends.